podcast. Here we go. Hello, hello, around the block and truly around the world. This is where we discuss, debate, and deliberate all things diabetes. Representing type 2, my name is Dobie Maxwell, and proudly representing type 1, she's vivacious, she's effervescent. Sami, what are you?
I'm sometimes in the know.
Yep, today you will be. She is the lovely and talented Sami Parker. Today's episode of Just My Type brought to you by who?
The Diabetes app.
Right, a free social community app that brings together both type 1 and type 2 diabetics, plus their supporters. What can we find there, Sami, besides community resources?
You can find Dobie and me on the Diabetes app, baby.
And we hope you do. Sami, we are going not only to your home turf, we are going to the business that I have called my own, show business. We have a talented young lady who happens to have diabetes, and I'll let you introduce her.
I'm super excited because, I just am excited. Well, first off, I'm in, LA area, so sorry, Dobie, but you're kind of out on this one. You guys do have in common the entertainment business, but I have in common the age and the funness of girls. So today we are introducing Breana Raquel, and Breana is an actress in the LA area.
I saw one of her movies. She was great in it too.
Yeah, me too, Dobie.
Purple Hearts.
Welcome, Breana.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk to you guys.
We're so excited to have you.
Well, we wanted to talk to you about a topic that was in the movie, and that's diabetes, which you have like we do. You're part of the family.
Yeah.
So we would love if you could to share your diagnosis story.
Yeah, of course. So I had a pretty late diagnosis. I was diagnosed in 2018. I was 18 at the time.
Wow.
I didn't realize what was wrong with me. And I had all these symptoms. I had the telltale symptoms, right? Like I was peeing 3 times a night. I was extremely hungry and thirsty all the time, but I was like 87 pounds and was like, what's going on here? I got blood work done because my mom actually has thyroid disease. So I was like, maybe it's something with that. So I got blood work done, and then they called me and was like, you should probably go to the ER because you're at 400. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, welcome to diabetes.
I know. And it was just kind of like thrown into the fire of diabetes because, yes, they give you like the whole diabetes instructor and stuff there in the hospital, but you're like, what? You can't even comprehend anything that's going on and how to even cope with this is your life now. So, besides feeling like most people being thrown into the fire of it, at least I caught it when I did, and I just have a great support system. So it was definitely rocky in the beginning, which it is for a lot of people. But definitely better now.
Well, I'm curious. Well, first off, did you move out here for acting or did you grow up here?
No, I grew up in Southern Maryland, and I did move out here for acting and singing. But I moved out here at like 15. I was getting ready to turn 16 and then was diagnosed at 18.
So were you in high school? Or were you doing like the independent study kind of high school?
Okay, so I did 1 year of in-person high school, and then I went to online school for the rest.
Now, is your family in acting? Because a lot of times that's a pretty great commitment if you have a dream and your family isn't. Because sometimes it's one of those things where, you're pie in the sky, and you read about the stars that make it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're born in Southern Maryland, or they're born in everywhere. But their family moved them to Los Angeles, which is a big thing. So I don't want to say lucky, but you are lucky that happened to you.
Oh my gosh, so lucky. I have the most supportive parents ever. I look back on it now that I'm older and I'm like, you guys are crazy. Why'd you let me do that? But having parents that believe in you is lucky to have, for sure.
No, totally. So, with diabetes, it's so difficult because there's so many different components and factors. But for you, especially like with acting, kind of, how did that affect that? And kind of come into play when you were like at auditions or commercials or on like just doing different gigs and whatnot?
Oh, I honestly was scared to audition. When I was first diagnosed, I was like, oh my gosh, what if anything happens in the audition room?
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to set me aside from, being an actual candidate for this role? Like maybe they don't want to work with me because they don't want to deal with the hassle that I have to deal with diabetes and stuff. So that was always in the back of my mind auditioning. On set, there is a set medic, and I feel comfortable with that. But I feel like just for wardrobe and, hiding the mic pack and stuff, I'm like, wait, now I have devices to hide too? And how is that going to work? And, what if I'm in the middle of a scene and I'm like feeling low or I'm super high and for some reason am forgetting all my lines that I know. But yeah, all of those play a part into it, but I just make sure that one, whatever I'm eating is like super great. It's just kind of bad, but I feel like I pay extra attention when I'm on set to make sure that like everything is great, smooth sailing throughout a shoot date. But yeah, it can definitely get to your head more than it actually becoming a problem.
Do you feel that the crew might look at you? I don't know what word to use. I don't want to say freak, but I'm saying it's like, oh, she has diabetes, and I don't mean that. I don't mean that to look at you that way. But it's hard enough now. Now, Sami, have you ever been around a movie set? I don't claim to be, but I've been around a couple.
No.
It's not one of those things where you stand around, hurry up and wait for hours, and you film your scene in 2 minutes. Explain that, because you're much bigger into the acting thing.
That is so funny. I totally get what you're saying. No, I feel like honestly, crew members are so nice and easy to joke around with. And most of the times they don't even know or see any of my devices. So there's no way for it to come up unless I bring it up. And that's kind of nice because then it's up to me, if I want to have that conversation,
Totally.
if I want to be open about it and that. And I've been on sets where I went into wardrobe and they were like, oh, one of the other actors wears one of those. And I was like, I don't know, maybe not. I don't think they really know what they're talking about. And then I actually happened to be on set with another diabetic actor. And so that was kind of cool.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What was that for?
It was for a SEAL team a couple of years ago. I think her name is Carrie.
Okay.
She plays the daughter of the main character in SEAL team. And then I was playing the daughter of one of the other SEALs in SEAL team. And they were like, yeah, one of the other actors here, she wears that. And they were referring to the Dexcom. And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I don't think they know what they're talking about. But then I said something like glucose or sugar.
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
was like, wait, are you diabetic? So am I. And then, it kind of blossomed into that. And it was cool going off because I was just diagnosed then. And she gave me so much advice and stuff in the beginning. And I felt it was really, really nice to see someone doing everything I want to do
Yeah.
with having diabetes. Like it was a really nice reminder that I can still do everything.
I love it because I've grown up dancing, so it's obviously very different, but it's still like you have to be presentable and have to be on like performing mode and show mode. And I think like all of us, because Dobie's a comedian, like traveling comedian, he's done like so many different professional shows and gigs. So it's like all of us have had the point where you have to be like on, presentable, ready to go, and like in that mode where you're like shift. Okay, I'm in work mode, entertainment. But it's so nice because I feel like diabetes is that common ground where when you meet somebody with it, it's like you might have on, well, at least for me, I'm like, I might have had on like 50 pounds of makeup at a dance competition, but then I'm like over there like nerding out about like a low blood sugar with the other girl that had diabetes.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, remember that time that like this might have happened? And she's like, that happened to me. And I'm like, oh, like behind all of the entertainment world, like it's like your genuine, raw, authentic, like empathetic self,
Yeah. No, it's really cool because especially with film and stuff, you're all acting, but then like you get to be real and it's like, wow, there's this other diabetic, and it's exciting seeing anyone that's a diabetic in public anyway. So for them to be in the workplace is like that much more exciting.
Oh, totally.
Now, do you see any more diabetic production? Sami and I talked about this, that it's such a large microcosm of society. 10% of North Americans have diabetes. I got to believe it's ripe for more productions, more storylines, more characters in productions.
Honestly, I wish I knew of more productions that included diabetes. I know there's a few animated films that have included like Omnipods and stuff like that, but Purple Hearts really was like the first storyline that spoke about diabetes in a light of like, wow, she deals with this every day and this is her daily struggle. And I mean, that's why it was so cool to be a part of. And I didn't know that that was a storyline when I auditioned for it. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I had no idea.
It's so funny because somebody was like, you have to watch the new movie. And I just thought that they meant like the main actress had it. And I was like, okay, like what's the big deal? Like they're like, no, she has diabetes. I'm like, no, like in the movie. They're like, yes, in the movie, she has diabetes. I was like, there's no way there's a movie about a girl with diabetes. I was like, that would be
so cool.
Yeah.
It was super weird because they only give you a scene to audition with. And then I didn't realize that she was diabetic until they gave me the full script. And I was like, insulin? What wait a minute. It was almost like I still not used to it.
Totally. Yeah. You're like, wait, okay.
Yeah. It's like,
rewind.
you guys know I'm diabetic when you cast me? And they were like, what? The director, Sophia.
Oh, they didn't know that you were diabetic.
No, they had no idea. So I was on set and was like, yeah, I'm diabetic too. Did you know that? And they were like, no, we had no idea. The director, Liz and Sophia, were like, oh my gosh, it's meant to be. And like, we were all just kind of...
You're like, yes, it is meant to be.
Yeah, I know. We were all just kind of shocked at the fact that like this whole storyline is about diabetes. They cast me without knowing. I was cast without knowing. And here we are all talking about diabetes now. And it's such an important conversation. And especially to have on a set for people to just feel represented and seen and stuff. So super cool that we had no idea. It was weird it worked out that way.
Did you feel like that they were looking at you as a consultant almost? Am I holding my needle right? Am I holding my insulin bottle right?
You know, they did a really good job. They had a medical consultant on set, but then I did feel extra special and seen because they took the extra mile to get my opinion. And Sophia was really great. She asked me, she was like, please let me know if there's anything that I can do to like make this more authentic and anything like that. Her and Liz were both super into making sure that people knew about diabetes and the struggles we go through.
The Diabetes app is an online community platform that was created to help people living with diabetes find support and information in one spot.
And on the Diabetes app, you can join groups and connect with other people all over the world who are also living with diabetes. I mean, for me, whenever I have a bad day, I find myself scrolling through the mental wellness group, just to reassure myself that I'm not alone.
The Diabetes app has a resource section where you can find articles, recipes, tips, and tricks for managing your diabetes. Download the Diabetes app today and connect with us right on the app.
Okay, so since we're talking about the movie, I'm dying to know also. So me and Dobie both watched it. I actually watched it. This is really funny, but I was on the elliptical the whole time. And I was like, I can't stop until I finish the movie. It's so good. And I was getting my blood sugars down, so I thought it was appropriate. But I thought it was great.
I did. You know, it wasn't for me. And I please don't take this in a bad way. I'm old. No. I'm jaded. I've been around the block a few times. And what I'm going to say was because any production, the actors were ridiculously good-looking people. All of you are just gorgeous young people, and all these things happen in one movie. And I guess it's hard to suspend, but the performances and the production value was really high, and I was glad to see it as someone with diabetes that it did focus on it. And there were some issues that came up there that I don't think the average person realizes, like paying for insulin. Well, that's, but now, did you talk to the writers at all, the producers? Now, was this a thing that this was it just thrown into the script, or did they really have a mission, or why was it part of the film? It's got a complex plot without giving it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it honestly does. No, all of the writing, like their number one goal really was to shine light on the struggles that a lot of people with diabetes have to go through. Where I mostly came in was where Liz, the director, was talking about like, hey, is this kind of an accurate number? Like, how would you feel in this situation? Have you ever been put in a situation where you can't afford insulin? Stuff like that. More questions, especially for the delivery of the performance as well.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask you. Did you think there was like parts that were performed really well in terms of like the lows and highs? And then were there any parts that you were like, I think that was like misrepresented, or no?
There was one part where Cassie has that annoying ringtone and she's like, sorry, that's me. And her friends were like, when is it not? And I was like, oh my God, that is literally my phone. I feel like 24/7, just with anything. I have a tight range so that I like to get a lot of alarms so that I know and can catch it fast. Like if I'm going low, I want to know. If I'm going high, I want to know. I felt that on like a different level because I was like, that's literally me and my friends.
Yeah.
There wasn't any part I feel like we were misrepresented. I felt like they did an amazing job with showcasing, how everything is as a diabetic and stuff. I think I probably would have chose different numbers for things, but everybody's body is different.
I'll second you on that one. Totally.
Yeah.
Because I normally don't feel lows. Yeah, that drastic. Like a drastic low for me would be like, below like 55. But everybody feels it different.
For me too. But I also have no idea. There could be diabetics out there that do feel that low at 60 something. I think she was at. But yeah, I think that was the only time that I was like, I don't know if I'd be that low or feeling, I guess. But, who am I to say that Susie Q wasn't? So
I thought the part at the pharmacy too was so accurate.
Oh my God.
So accurate.
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to never have to go through that situation. But I have friends, other diabetics, who like, oh, I can't get that prescription because I have to wait this certain amount of time. And I'm like, well, you need it.
Could we just go over that scene? Only because I don't want to give the plot away, but I agree with Sami. That was a very important scene. But if someone hasn't seen it, now we all have, but if someone's listening and hasn't seen it, so the character is in line, and I'll let you guys finish it, but she's in line to get her
Breana, do you want to finish it?
At a pharmacy.
So the scene where she's at the pharmacy trying to get her prescription is pretty accurate. And I think they did a really, really good job of showcasing like what a lot of people deal with when they go to the pharmacy and need a prescription and can't necessarily get it at that time.
Yeah. So I thought it was when she went up there and they were like, she's like, no, I need it. No, you can't. It's going to be $500 out of pocket. And I was like, that is so relatable because the other day, like I'm in your situation too, where I'm very lucky and fortunate. I haven't had to go through that, but I know like the other day I didn't have, my parents are listening. My dad's going to be like, is that what that charges on the card? But I was at the pharmacy and I was in Santa Monica at my boyfriend's and I was like, oh my gosh, my Dexcom came off. And I was like, I have 3 test strips. And I was like, I'm not going home till tomorrow. Like, what do I do? So I was like, I went to the pharmacy and I walked up to the front and I already knew, but like my boyfriend's never like, he had never gone with me to see out of pocket what it cost. And I was like, yeah, just like heads up, they're going to be like pretty expensive. And he's like, oh. And so I like get the little thing of it. The guy goes, okay, that's going to be $75. And I was like 25 or 50 test strips. And, wait, did he just say 75? I was like, yeah, for that, not covered by insurance. And I was like, that's great. And I'm pretty sure my dad right now is probably listening like, wait, what? That's what that was. And I found, the worst part was that I found one in my backpack. So that was even the worst part, but it was just terrible. And so it like reminded me, I was like, that is so accurate.
I'm really glad they put the price in there because most people don't know how expensive insulin is for something that we literally, if I'm like, it's so expensive. And people that don't have the best insurance, I'm like, are probably like drowning trying to pay for it because we use it all day, every day. So I'm really glad they put that part in so that most people can see like, hey, there's a reason she's, in debt. It's because insulin is so expensive.
Well, I think the awareness is just so important for the public. And I think maybe a telethon, a fundraiser of some sort, if more people like us are talking about it and someone that's your relative or something, like you just got through saying, it's nobody's fault. You got it. Everybody needs it. You got to find a way to get it done affordably. I don't think there's any there's no, that's not a if, that's a yes, must.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There should just be way more fundraisers and stuff that we can do. I did one fundraiser when I was first diagnosed. I did an EP release and I had already started posting about my diagnosis and stuff on Instagram and was like, I should just make this EP release / fundraiser if that's even possible. But I'm going to take that as a reminder to plan another one. So
yeah, I know it's crazy because especially in California, but I think the movie was so great because of all those things that it brings awareness to. Like, I don't really think people register what it means when you go low or what it means when you go high. So I know like maybe some people were like, oh, well, I don't feel like that. Or like I said, I don't feel that low. But to me, it's like, okay, I might not feel that low at that number, but at least like the public eye is getting the awareness of like, hey, when somebody goes low, this is what should take place. Or when somebody's high, this is what takes place. Because I'm like, there's never been diabetes in the public eye in general. And so that's why I think in general, like the pharmacy that they had and then the different scenes of the low blood sugar or like getting fed the certain thing, like it just was very accurate.
I think it was really important to show her partner dealing with it too, because there's a lot of people that have loved ones that are diabetic that aren't necessarily diabetic themselves. So it was kind of nice to show like it takes a support group too. It's not just the diabetic, like a lot of it is family, loved ones, siblings, you know what I mean? Like friends. So I thought that was a really nice part to include in the movie.
Well, it truly touches everybody. That's the thing I don't think anybody realizes. It's all ethnicities, age groups, whatever you want to say. Someone is touched by diabetes somewhere. And I think it's the great equalizer as far as that goes.
It is, which is crazy that we're just now starting to see it in film. But yes, it's everywhere. Crazy because they call it the lonely disease. But I'm like, online, everybody, like, there's so many people that have it. But in your support group, then you could be the only one that has it. And so it's funny that it's called the lonely disease, but like, there's such a huge community.
Yeah, it's like, it's really not. But what would you say has been like the most difficult thing managing diabetes?
Number one thing is I get so consumed with my work and what I'm doing that like having to put it on the front burner is hard mentally because I'm like, I don't want to take the time to deal with that. Like I want to do my work and do my passion and stuff like that. But then I'm like, oh, but I have to take that extra step to make sure my health so that I can do it. Right. So it's like a constant, like annoying cycle for me. Also, I just feel like I'm coming up, I think, on my 4th year. And I'm like, how do these people have it figured out? And I know they have it for like 15, 20 years and stuff. But I'm like, how did you guys figure out basal rates? How did you figure out each little factor into what changes your glucose? I'm like, as soon as I feel like I figure it out and I'm in a nice groove, something changes where I'm like,
oh my God, diabetes, unpredictable disease.
Yeah.
I could be like sitting there and I'm like 60 and then a second later I have like 2 arrows up and I'm like, oh, I'm 270. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel like I literally look at food sometimes and my body's like, oh, you're going high. And I'm like, what happened between that?
It's true.
Yeah.
Have you had a hard time, like I said, being on a movie script? And you don't always maybe work in movies, but if you're acting, how can you make time to exercise? Because there's so much time involved in an entertainer's career.
Exercise?
Yeah. I mean, do you find time? I mean, my point is, it's not a 9 to 5. You know, Sammy's dancing at different times. You're acting at different times. I'm on the road all the time. Really, it's extra hard. That's my point.
It is. It's really hard for me to have a set groove, and having structure definitely helps. When I am in a place to have more structure, it definitely helps with my numbers. But in a career that has little to no structure is like, okay, well, I know that this day I'm going to be working all day, but then tomorrow I have nothing. You know what I mean? So when exercise comes into play, sometimes I don't even think about it. And then sometimes I'm really good. So it's just as unpredictable. I feel like some weeks I'll be like, yeah, woohoo, let's do it. And then, what?
Yeah. Dobie's been awesome. And he goes on Dobie, what are you up to now in steps wise?
I started, my birthday's in March. As we're recording this right end of August, it's 140 days of 10,000 steps or more every day. I'm probably averaging now about 14,000. When I started in March, these people are all in their 20s. You guys could all be my kids, my nephews and nieces, and they're all hitting, 10,000. I started about 3,000. I thought I was going to throw up.
I'll definitely be taking notes from you on that. I could definitely improve a little bit.
We could all improve, and so could I. But now my point is, I say it to everybody now, not to brag, but to say, if I can do it. And I tell everybody, because they're going to ask me, are you still walking? I can't stop and say no just for my saved face. Yes, I have been doing 140 days. I know a friend of mine, another comedian, he said, I didn't want to top you, but I've been doing it 850 days in a row, 10,000, at least 10,000 or more. So can't get cocky, but you guys are both young. You got a long life ahead of you. Exercise. Sammy loves it. I'm sure you've grown to love it too, because it makes you feel better.
I do like it. I'm a nerd. I like exercise.
No, I think there's nothing nerdy about it. I am becoming a nerd proudly for the same reason. We're almost out of time. I want to make sure, Breana, thanks for joining us. You've been so open about it. We want to plug the movie. Hopefully everybody sees it. Hopefully they'll see your talent and your shining beauty.
And you are such a bright light. So I'm all excited that you're so close to me. Just in LA.
Thank you so much. We'll have to meet up. We can now be diet buddies.
Yeah, you can be my diet buddy. I need one. I'm serious. I need one out here.
Sammy, what's our question of the pod today?
Question of the pod. Who is your favorite movie character with diabetes? Well, I'm going to say Cassie from Purple Hearts because I only know that movie. And then
for diabetes. Okay. If I don't say Cassie from Purple Hearts, you know what I mean? But no, honestly, she did play.
Dobie.
I'm going to go with Kevin James in Paul Blart Mall Cop. That's a movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Now I'm kind of tied.
No, that's okay. You got to pick the one that you were in. We get that. Yeah. So if you're listening and you have a favorite character, maybe you can break the tie. And Breana, how can we get a hold of you? If someone wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that? Where are you?
You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok. Pretty much all socials are all at Breana Raquel. So reach out to me on there and I'll get back to you.
amazing. And you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at JustMyTypePod _ Facebook, JustMyTypePod, and hashtag JustMyTypePod. Again, answer the question of the pod, please. And Breana, again, thank you so much for coming on. You were so fun, and I can't wait to actually meet you in person.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
Sounds good. Thanks again to our pod squad. Queen Elizabeth off today. Production assistant Zach comes right in and does a fantastic job. Thanks to everyone that's listening. Also, Sami, it's time to put the sugar-free cherry on the healthy Sunday one more time.
Hell yeah. Stay la vie, baby.
Ain't that the shiz?
This is the Just My Type podcast.